The fire of Concordia Prime, the Grand Assembly Hall of Concordia Prime, was vast beyond human comprehension. Its crystalline walls rose hundreds of meters high, carved from materials that existed nowhere in Earth's periodic table. Holographic constellations drifted overhead, representing the 1,000 worlds of the Galactic Council. At the center of it all stood a single human woman, Ambassador Elena Vasquez. She wore Earth's formal diplomatic uniform, midnight blue with gold trim, the emblem of a pale blue planet stitched over her heart. Her dark hair was pulled back tight. Her hands trembled slightly, but her voice did not. "Members of the Council," she began, her words translating instantly into 100 alien languages. "I stand before you not in anger, but in grief. 3 human colonies have been destroyed in the past 6 months. New Horizon, Kepler's Promise, Arcadia Station. Over 40,000 souls, men, women, children, gone." She paused. The silence in the hall was absolute. "And I have proof," Elena continued, her voice rising, "that the Zenthari Empire is responsible." A wave of sound rippled through the chamber. Clicks, hisses, subsonic rumbles, the alien equivalent of gasps. On the high platform above her, the council members stirred. 12 species, ancient and powerful, each one a pillar of galactic law. At the center sat Archon Velrith of the Zenthari Empire. His species was tall and insectoid, with chitinous armor that gleamed like black glass. His 4 eyes regarded Elena with something that might have been amusement. "Ambassador Vasquez," Velrith's voice buzzed through the translation matrix, calm and condescending. "Humanity has always been emotional. You mistake accidents for conspiracy. Space is dangerous. Your colonies were poorly defended." "Poorly defended." Elena's voice cracked like a whip. "We found Zenthari weapon signatures in the debris. We have flight logs showing your warships in those systems hours before the attacks." She gestured, and holographic data bloomed in the air around her. Charts, trajectories, energy signatures. Evidence painstakingly gathered over months of investigation. But the Council did not look at it. Instead, Councillor Thane, a biomechanical being of the Silex Dominion, leaned forward. His voice was cold, synthesized. "Ambassador, do you understand what you are accusing? The Zenthari are founders. They have kept peace in this galaxy for 3,000 years. Humanity has been here for barely 50. And in that time," Elena shot back, "we have followed every law, every treaty, every custom you demanded of us. We asked for nothing but a voice and protection. Instead, you let them slaughter us." Velrith stood. His towering form cast a shadow over the floor where Elena stood. "Enough," he said softly. "This human brings shame upon herself and her species. She disrupts this sacred chamber with lies born of grief." He turned to the Council. "I invoke the law of accusation. She has named me a founder, a murderer before this assembly without irrefutable proof. By ancient custom, the penalty is clear." Elena's blood ran cold. Councillor Thane nodded slowly. "The law is the law. All who speak here agree to abide by it." The ambassador knew the risks. "No," Elena whispered. "Yes," Velrith said, and for the first time she saw it in his eyes. Not amusement, satisfaction. They had wanted this. The trap had been set long before she ever arrived. They burned her in the Pavilion of Judgment. Thousands of alien spectators filled the amphitheater, watching from balconies and floating platforms. The pyre was made of ancient wood from a dozen worlds, symbolically representing the unity of galactic law. Elena was bound to the post at its center. She did not scream. She did not beg. Instead, as the flames began to rise, she looked directly into the broadcast cameras, the ones transmitting this moment across the entire galaxy. Her voice was hoarse, but steady. "You think this ends here? You think burning me will make humanity quiet, obedient?" The fire climbed higher. Pain etched itself across her face, but her eyes stayed locked on the lens. "You have no idea," she whispered, "what you've just done." And then the flames took her. 3 days later, the footage reached Earth. It played on every screen, every feed, every device. The world watched in silence as their ambassador, their voice among the stars, was murdered for daring to speak the truth. And something broke. Not hope. Not spirit, restraint. In Geneva, President Maria Santos stood before an emergency session of the United Earth Government. Her face was carved from stone. Her voice was iron. For 50 years, she said, we have played by their rules. We smiled, we bowed. We begged for scraps of respect from beings who see us as children. She paused. No more. Behind her, a hologram flickered to life. It showed a region of space beyond Neptune, past the Kuiper Belt, a place no alien fleet had ever thought to look. There, hidden in the dark, were shipyards, hundreds of them. And surrounding them, silent and vast, were warships, not exploration vessels, not colony transports, warships. Activate the Prometheus Protocol, President Santos said quietly. Admiral Marcus Chen, standing at her side, nodded once. Yes, Madam President, and across the Sol system, humanity's secret fleets, built in shadow over decades, armed with weapons the galaxy had never seen, came to life. The fires of Concordia Prime had lit a fuse, and now the galaxy would burn. The reckoning Admiral Marcus Chen had not slept in 72 hours. He stood on the bridge of the UES Indomitable, humanity's first true warship, watching the view screen as the hidden fleet assembled around him. Hundreds of vessels emerging from their concealment, dreadnoughts, carriers, strike cruisers, all built in secret over 30 years. The Prometheus Protocol had always been humanity's dark insurance policy. A plan born from the first moment Earth's diplomats realized the truth. The galaxy did not see them as equals. It saw them as prey. Fleet status? Chen's voice was calm, but his eyes burned. All ships reporting ready, sir, his second-in-command replied. Commander Sarah Park was young, brilliant, and had lost her sister on Kepler's promise. 73 capital ships, 312 support vessels, weapon systems armed and operational. And the Zenthari? Their nearest battle group is holding position at Concordia Prime. 28 ships, including their flagship, the Eternal Dawn. Park's jaw tightened. Archon Velrith is still there, broadcasting propaganda about the justified execution of Ambassador Vasquez. Chen nodded slowly. Good, I want him to see us coming. Behind them, a holographic image flickered to life. President Santos appeared, speaking from Earth to every human vessel simultaneously. Her face was composed, but her words carried the weight of history. Soldiers of humanity, she began. What we do today we do not for conquest. We do not do for glory. We do it because the galaxy has shown us that peace is a privilege granted only to the strong. The crew of the Indomitable listened in absolute silence. They killed Elena Vasquez because she spoke truth. They killed our colonies because they believed we were too weak to respond. They have underestimated us for the last time. Santos paused, and when she spoke again, her voice was steel. Show them what humanity is capable of. Show them what happens when you burn our ambassador alive and call it justice. The transmission ended. Chen turned to his bridge crew. Helm set course for Concordia Prime, maximum velocity. Sir, Park said quietly, the Galactic Council will call this an act of war. Chen smiled grimly. Commander, they declared war the moment they lit that pyre. We're just responding. The Indomitable's engines flared to life, a brilliant blue that outshone the stars, and behind it, like a sword unsheathed in the darkness, humanity's fleet followed. The Zenthari defenders detected them 3 hours out from Concordia Prime. Aboard the Eternal Dawn, Archon Velrith received the report with disbelief. How many vessels? Initial scans indicate over 300, Archon. His tactical officer's voice wavered. Unknown configuration. Energy signatures unlike anything in our databases. 300? Velrith's mandibles clicked in confusion. Impossible. Humanity has 40 ships total. We have records. These are not colony ships, Archon. These are warships, and they're broadcasting on all frequencies. Show me. The view screen shifted. Admiral Chen's face appeared. Broadcast across every channel in the Concordia system. Archon Velrith, Chen said simply. You wanted humanity to know its place in the galaxy. Very well. We're here to teach you. The transmission cut out. Velrith stood frozen. Around him his bridge crew worked frantically, powering weapon systems, calling for reinforcements. But there was something in the approaching fleet's formation. Something precise, purposeful, angry, that sent a chill through his exoskeleton. Contact the Council, he ordered. Tell them we require immediate support. But the Council's response, when it came, was not what he expected. The Council convenes an emergency session, Councillor Thane's synthesized voice replied. All combat vessels are ordered to stand down. Humanity's fleet is to be allowed to approach. We will Negotiate. Stand down. Velrith's voice rose to a shriek. They're coming to attack us. And whose fault is that, Archon? Thane's words were cold. You assured us humanity would accept the judgment. You said they were weak, divided, incapable of unified response. The connection terminated. Velrith stared at the dark screen, realization slowly dawning. The Council was abandoning him, sacrificing him to save themselves. He had been outmaneuvered. The human fleet entered weapons range of Concordia Prime like a storm rolling across still water. They did not fire immediately. Instead, they arranged themselves in a perfect sphere around the Zenthari battle group, outnumbering them 12-1. Every gun, every missile bay, every energy weapon trained inward. Admiral Chen's voice echoed across open channels once more. Zenthari vessels, you have one opportunity. Power down your weapons. Surrender Archon Velrith to stand trial for war crimes. Do this and you will be allowed to leave. Silence. Then, from the eternal dawn, Velrith's voice, desperate, furious. You dare? We are founders. We have ruled this galaxy for 3,000 years. And we, Chen replied quietly, have been planning this for 30. For 5 seconds, nothing moved. Then the eternal dawn opened fire. It was suicide. Brave, perhaps, in a tragic way, but suicide nonetheless. The human fleet's response was immediate and overwhelming. Point defense systems intercepted every Zenthari missile. Railguns fired in perfect synchronization, shredding armor that had been considered impenetrable. Energy weapons, developed in secret from theories the Council had deemed too dangerous for primitive species, carved through shields like paper. The battle lasted 4 minutes. When it ended, the eternal dawn was a burning hulk, splitting apart in the cold vacuum. The remaining Zenthari ships floated dead in space, crew alive but vessels crippled, not destroyed, neutralized. Chen had made his point. 48 hours later, the Galactic Council convened again. This time, it was humanity's turn to stand in the center of the Grand Assembly Hall. Admiral Chen wore his dress uniform flanked by 2 Marines. Behind him on every screen, the wreckage of the Zenthari fleet played on loop. Councillor Thane spoke first. Admiral Chen, you have violated galactic law, engaged in unprovoked warfare, destroyed council ships. Chen's voice was ice. Unprovoked? You burned our ambassador alive on false charges. You stood by while our colonies were slaughtered. You treated us like insects. Even so, another councillor interjected, a crystalline being whose voice chimed like glass. Violence is not the answer. The law must be, your law, Chen interrupted, is worthless. It protects the powerful and crushes the weak. We tried your law, we trusted it, and you used it to murder Elena Vasquez. He stepped forward. So here's our law. From this day forward, humanity will defend itself. If you attack us, we will respond with overwhelming force. If you scheme against us, we will know and we will act. And if you ever raise a hand against another human life, unjustly, he let the silence hang. We will burn your worlds the way you burned our ambassador. The hall erupted in chaos, outrage, fear, indignation. But Chen simply turned and walked out. Behind him, President Santos appeared on the screens. The Galactic Council is invited to establish new diplomatic relations with the United Earth government. As equals, not as children begging for scraps. The transmission ended, months later, at the newly renamed Vasquez Memorial Station, built on the ruins of Arcadia. Admiral Chen stood at the observation deck. Looking out at the stars, Commander Park approached. Sir, the Council has agreed to formal negotiations. Equal representation. Full recognition of human sovereignty. Chen nodded slowly. And Velrith? In custody, standing trial for genocide under our laws. Good. Park hesitated. Sir, do you think Elena would have approved of what we did? Chen was quiet for a long moment. Then he smiled sadly. She would have hated it. She believed in diplomacy, in peace. He looked back at the stars, but she also believed in justice. And sometimes, Commander, the only way to make the powerful listen is to make them fear. The galaxy had learned. Humanity was no longer asking for respect, it had taken it.